Hi everyone, I hope y'all are having a lovely day. My name is Jada, and I like to share my thoughts on various nuanced topics and really anything that interests me. This is my first video in like 6 years, and the only one that I have ever written a script for, so I hope I'm not too shabby. Thank you very much for clicking on this video, and I hope you enjoy. Also, I wanted to add that while writing and researching for this script, another video with a very similar idea was released by another creator named Francisco Ferreira, and I did watch his video for needed context and it was super lovely. I just wanted to put that out there, and I will link his video in my description. Today I want to dive into the short-lived existence of the Xbox Kinect. I was an avid user of the Kinect in my childhood, playing games like Kinect Adventures, Just Dance, Wipeout, and my personal favorite was Kinectimals. Recently, my fiance and I discussed how much we enjoyed those games and how innovative we thought it was at the time. We also realized that it kind of just faded out of the plane of existence. Like, I don't recall hearing anything about it being discontinued or why. It just kind of collectively disappeared from everyone's consciousness. I would assume that if you clicked on this video, you know what a Kinect is, but in case you don't, the Xbox Kinect is an attachment that was made for the Xbox 360 and was released in 2010. And for context, I was 7 years old. It's about the size of a speaker, and it would sit a few feet in front of whoever was playing it. It had a motion sensor, camera, and voice recognition for certain games. Despite being named by Guinness as the fastest selling consumer electronic of all time, the Kinect was discontinued starting in 2017 and was fully off of the market by 2017. So, what happened? The Xbox 360 released in 2005 and marketed primarily to an audience of young men, with best-selling games like GTA 5, Black Ops, Modern Warfare, and Halo, which was an Xbox exclusive. The release of the console was accompanied by ads such as this one.
Buy a PC for college. Get a free Xbox 360.
These types of campaigns were the main marketing tactic used for the console and pretty much consoles in general, preceding the release. Attention and demand for the Xbox began to rise as consumers became enthralled with the golden age of consoles. This release was pre-PS3, and gamers were itching for something shiny, with the original Xbox coming out 4 years prior, and the PS2 coming out a year before that. However, during the release of the 360, Microsoft had a major setback in production. It was projected that the 360 would sell 1.5 million units within its first year. However, they were only able to provide 607,000 units, due to production starting 69 days before release. That is fucking insane. Like, what do you mean you had 2 months to manufacture 1.5 million consoles? Don't piss me off. Over the next few years, Xbox gained popularity with video game hobbyists, retaining its audience with exclusives like Halo 3, which released in 2007. This game ended up being the console's 6th best-selling game, selling 14.5 million copies. After this, while sales continued to trend upward, Microsoft was looking to expand their audience from just gamers. The Kinect's introduction to the public was during E3 in 2009. For those who don't know, E3 stands for the Electronic Entertainment Expo. This is a space where tech and gaming companies would gather annually and introduce new ideas and innovations for the near future. E3's downfall is also very interesting, but that's like a whole nother video. However, at this time, it was a major event in its respective space. The release of this device was Microsoft's answer to the Wii and the PlayStation Move, if y'all remember that. With the overwhelming success of the Nintendo Wii following the release in 2006, Microsoft kind of went balls to the wall with the marketing for the Kinect. Nintendo had opened the door for casual gaming. People who had never owned a console before were rushing to buy the Wii. By the millions. Begone the Alpha Chad Halo ads of years past. It was now time to pour $500 million into ad campaigns with companies like Burger King, Pepsi, Netflix, T-Mobile, and many others. As hype built around the product, these promotions showed demos of games, not only for families, but for all kinds of demographics. The goal for this new technology was to benefit new and current users. Pretty soon, all sorts of consumers would start to catch wind of the new video games that you could play without controllers. Whatever magic they put into the advertising definitely worked, because as mentioned before, The Kinect earned the Guinness World Record of the fastest selling consumer electronic of all time, selling 8 million units within its first 60 days. Now, I grew up in a console household, so we already had an Xbox. The Kinect was sold separately and available for purchase for current users, though it was later reported that only approximately 20% of the 55 million current users of the Xbox purchased a Kinect separately. With major anticipation surrounding the release of the Kinect, Microsoft decided to unveil the Slim or S version of the 360, which would come with the new sensor for a limited time. In my opinion, this was a great marketing strategy. With the success of all of its promotions, loads of families and other consumers were very interested in this product. They just didn't have an Xbox. This package deal contributed to a major amount of sales for the Kinect's initial release. This strategy paid off pretty handsomely, as the bundle also came with Kinect Adventures, which would go on to be the 360's best-selling game, selling 24 million copies worldwide. When I was growing up, my brother's dad played games pretty consistently on the 360. Played games like Call of Duty, Forza, and Madden. I was always allowed to play games too, and I played games like The Sims 2 and pretty much any Lego themed game that came out on that console. I also spent hours making my avatar, changing it, and also switching through the default profile photos, but that might just be me. That being said, I've been playing on consoles pretty much since I was 6, because I was gifted the DSi pretty close to when it came out in 2009. I played mostly solo, and I invested time in things like the Imagine Fashion games, which were iconic in their own right. But I was instantly intrigued when I was introduced to the idea of the Kinect. And most of the games on the Xbox weren't things that I necessarily wanted to spend my time on. So when I was playing games, I was usually on my DS in my room alone. When integrating the Kinect, the Xbox introduced a much wider range of games for my age and interests. Like I said, I spent a lot of time on Kinectimals, which
on a secret island somewhere in the Pacific. The world's most beloved cubs can't wait for someone to play with.
I wouldn't even be able to explain that right now. You'll just have to see for yourself. The point being, it was something that I could play by myself. I was fully stimulated and entertained while also being on my feet. And by the time my brother became conscious, we had had the Kinect for probably 2-ish years. Since he was so much younger than me, it was so difficult to be able to find games that we would actually play together. Sometimes I would play single player games and give him a controller that was dead, but that only works for so long. To be honest, at that age, I was kind of impatient with him and I didn't really want to teach him how to play games. I mean, I was like 10. Kinect was the perfect solution for us to be able to enjoy games together. I was able to maneuver fairly easily, and there were no controllers or buttons to teach him how to use or worry that he may be pressing wrong. The games kept us engaged for quite a long time, which equated to us being active for multiple hours a day. We honestly were living proof that that shit worked. Most games released on the Kinect required some sort of physical activity. High-selling games that were compatible included Kinect Sports, many iterations of Just Dance, Wipeout, and they even released a Harry Potter exclusive game. As mentioned before, all forms of the Kinect came with the game Kinect Adventures. This was a multiplayer game, rated E, and only available on the Kinect, of course. It was a collection of 5 different adventure-based minigames, River Rush being the most closely associated with the game as it was on the cover. This minigame could support up to 2 players, and you start on the left or the right side of the raft. Your goal is to make it to the end of the river, collecting as many points as possible. You can maneuver left to right and jump in order to move the raft and collect points. This minigame specifically was a huge selling point for the family marketing in this game and the Kinect release in general. To emphasize to you, once more, the games were point-based and timed. These games required the players to be constantly reliant on the sensor's abilities in absence of a physical controller. Now, I know I have made the Kinect seem like this awesome, groundbreaking thing, which it was, but it did not come without its pitfalls, with major complaints about its motion tracking, voice recognition, and just overall functionality.
What the hell?
Due to the nature of the Kinect's most popular games, the camera and motion sensor were crucial to the outcome of the player's experience. Now, all of the minigames on Kinect Adventures required movement to earn points, or even to maneuver the game's most basic functions. In a point-based game, it is frustrating for you to be doing it correctly and your points not to register. I can say this from experience, as a tween playing with her toddler brother. Eventually, Microsoft heard our cries and went back into development to tweak some of the issues that players were experiencing. They soon announced that the new version of the Kinect would be integrated with their upcoming console, the Xbox One. This did not go over well with gamers or casual enjoyers. Not only did current players feel like the original Kinect and software had been somewhat discarded, but the new console's price was also inflated due to the forced inclusion of the new tech. Gamers who played without the Kinect couldn't really find the justification to spend more money on a new console, and current Kinect users didn't really want to purchase a new console with something that they didn't really trust the integrity of anymore. This resulted in the Xbox One eventually debundling the sensor in order to compete with the sales of the PS4, which released about a week after. We all know how that went. The consequences of this choice essentially damned the Kinect in its current form to tech hell. The new integrated feature not only made the console cost $100 more than its competitor, but also made customers wary knowing that the camera would always be on. Which, that's really funny to me now. Obviously, Alexa's seen everyone's hole, but that was a significant contribution to buyer restraint at the time. Now, it's very interesting because Microsoft nor Sony list console sales online anymore. All we know is that the PS4 outsold the Xbox One by a lot. Microsoft has since admitted, quote, Sony has surpassed Microsoft in terms of console sales and installed base, having sold more than twice as many Xboxes in the last generation. Like, let's wrap it up. Even with the release of the new console, there weren't really any new releases or anything being done to keep the Kinect fresh in people's minds. They tried to shift the angle to like functionality for gamers, trying to convince them that the voice recognition was damn near required for good gameplay.
We had this, concept like, I'm a battlefield general. So with my, controller, I control my sword and shield. I control my character, my combat experience. With my voice, I command units. So as people will see, you use your voice in these scenarios where you have, archers. You tell them, cover me, and they fire and kill guys around you. Or you tell them, hold that position, cover the front line, and they'll take care of that.
Over time, Xbox started to slowly shift its marketing back into their core consumer base, which is gamers. Microsoft's efforts were valiant, but futile nonetheless. The Kinect was officially dead. Starting in 2015, the company would slowly start to detach the Kinect from its public image after trying to financially recuperate from the hit that was the release of the PS4. In 2016, while they were busy making changes at Microsoft, Nintendo unveiled its first look at the Switch. And yes, I skipped a Wii U. We're not going to go there. You could sit down and play like a PC or DS. You could play with a controller like an Xbox or a PlayStation. And you could also use a motion sensor controller like a Wii. Of course, we all know that the Nintendo Switch is an extremely popular video game console. With its compact design and convenient functionality, it became the perfect one-size-fits-all vessel for games. With the Kinect already sort of fading into purgatory, this was a death wish. The public's attention was shifted back to Nintendo as the hub for casual and family gaming. Their sole ownership of the Mario IP provided much more justification for household purchases, as almost all of those games are co-op. The Switch was released in 2017, around the same time that Microsoft put the axe to the Kinect in its entirety, and the Switch went on to outsell even the PS4. Did Microsoft fumble? Yes. Is the Kinect still something I look upon fondly? Absolutely. This thing was the first of its kind, I mean, not the first motion sensor ever, but definitely something that had never ever been seen by the public in that way. I truly believe that the Kinect was the blueprint for motion sensor in all modern games. If anything, it was a course on what not to do. Could the Kinect have survived with more intention and effort? I mean, I'm sure it could have, but there is something so special, at least to me, about that specific moment in time. That generation of consoles and video game accessories shaped the landscape for modern gaming and what it is now, for better or worse. Everyone I mention the Kinect to remembers it sweetly. They just don't really remember where it went. And of course, they don't write an entire video essay about it, but Here I am to do it for them. At the age I was when the Kinect was at its peak, I didn't realize that the issues were a motion sensor or a camera or error of any kind. I just knew that it wasn't working, so we got rid of it. That's kind of the story of how the Kinect fell into the toilet anyway. I mean, so many people bought Xboxes for this appliance only, not really being, console users in the first place. When that one gimmick wasn't really exciting anymore, there was nothing keeping them as customers. This contributed to declining sales for the Xbox One, simply because the Xbox was unable to retain an entire group of consumers. The history of the 360 is definitely rocky, with cracks forming even before release, during production. However, I, as well as many others, look back on the 360 quite affectionately. I mean, it is in the top 10 best-selling consoles of all time, with the Kinect contributing to a major amount of that. No matter what, it was a moment in gaming history, whether you view it as a stain or a badge. If you are still here, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, literally so much. I know my writing is rusty, and we'll see, maybe my editing is too, but I know I have to start somewhere, so I appreciate the support so greatly. I'm still trying to find my footing, and I want to upload videos and, improve my writing style. In all honesty, I'm very interested in intersectional politics and how that, kind of intersects with pop culture. And I initially started writing a video on something very, very, very different. I think I need a bit more practice before, I start writing about and talking about big things and putting them on a platform where people take things at face value. I would not like to contribute to the spread of misinformation. Obviously, I like to talk about unserious things as well. I kind of just want to make videos that I like and that I feel confident posting. If you think I'm cool and or beautiful and you like what I have to say, please consider subscribing. That would mean the absolute world to me. I hope you all enjoyed, and I can't wait to see you again. Bye!
Everyone is doing it. Guys are doing it with girls, and girls are doing it with other girls. Some get together in groups and do it. Some go online and do it with complete strangers. Some people have steady aim, and others just spray everywhere. Tons of bitches do it so loud they keep up the neighbors. Some people go into domination mode, and that's some freaky deaky shit. I've heard there's over 20 million people doing it now, so it's safe to say that everyone is doing it.